This is the Five Lights Podcast. Yes, it is the Five Lights Podcast, a special episode 13 of the Five Lights Podcast and our Spain preview. We are back after doing a bit of a breakdown of some of the news and what we'd like to see in our Dream F1. We are back. We've got some news to get to first before we get into our Spain GP. We'll look at some of our predictions. And I've got a few little thank yous to say before we get too far into the podcast. So without any further ado, let's get going. And that was our intro again from bensound.com. Head over there to bensound.com for all your multimedia music needs. So, this is a very special podcast because we are live streaming it over Meerkat. We currently have no viewers, which is probably for the best considering I messed up the intro. But hopefully it will save to my phone and you can watch it live, or not live, but you can watch it again on YouTube later on. Well, I need to introduce somebody else first. He is my compadre, my brother. He is the best brother, or the equally best brother anyway, sorry Mark, to ever have been. He is the Ralph to my Michael. It's Ben. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I am doing amazing.
Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you very much. For those of you who don't know, or don't follow us on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere like that, it was my birthday yesterday. 27 years of age, don't look a day over 31. And my fiancée Donna, the most wonderful fiancée in the world, got me a very special gift. It was a photo book, and my children got me a very special gift as well, which I'm going to use today, and it's going to prove very useful in the future. Is this Formula 1 2015 BBC official guide? So I'll be using that later on for when we break down the Spanish Grand Prix. But the biggest gift I got, Ben's known about this since about March time. Donna's known about it since before then. Obviously, she bought the tickets. I'm going to Silverstone, baby! I'm going to Silverstone!
So excited. I've been waiting for ages to tell you to say Donna bought her tickets, and then that meant I had to buy mine for me and myself and my girlfriend. And I've just been itching to tell you ever since. So glad you know now, because we can plan it and just look forward to it now, and then do stuff for the podcast as well.
I'm so excited. What I've just realised with this live stream is everyone's going to hear me, but they're not going to hear you. So sorry if you can't hear Ben, but this is just an excuse for you to download the podcast, so you can hear what Ben's replies are to my words. So there.
So it just looks like you're talking to yourself, really.
It just looks like I'm talking to
probably
myself.
happens a lot anyway.
But to prove that his lips are moving, he is there. He's still moving. But yeah, she bought me this photo book. She went through this whole charade of what presents she was going to get me, and then finally, it came to the end of the book. There was a little map to Northampton from where I live. There was a picture of the circuit, and then there was a picture of Lewis Hamilton, and then she said, I'm going to Silverstone. So me and Ben will be there. We'll be doing some interviews and handing out some bits and pieces and doing some bits and pieces, but we'll be mainly there to enjoy the racing. We will enjoy. Don't worry, Ben, it's not going to be all work. We will be enjoying the racing as well.
That's why I go to Silverstone for, to get away from work.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben, how's your week been away from Formula 1? Are you ready to get in some news?
I'm ready to get in some news. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it indeed. So, the news this week, Benj, do you want to kick off? What's our first piece this week?
Fernando Alonso and his contract. I'm not even sure when this happened, to be honest. There's been such a big gap in between the last race. But Ron Dennis revealed in an interview that Alonso had a 3-year binding contract to McLaren, which means that he has no opt-out clauses like we see him use to leave Ferrari. And apparently it's worth around £25 million per year. So he's there for 3 years, and like it or lump it, really, for him.
Yeah, I mean, what a terrible thing to be worth £25 million a year, though. You know, it could be worse. I think for Fernando, really, what's he going to do? I mean, obviously there'll be teams who will take him on, but he's been talking the talk in the media that he's there for McLaren for the long haul anyway, isn't he? So I don't see what his problem is, really. This hint from Nelson Piquet Jr. about him retiring, do we actually believe what Nelson Piquet Jr. said after his history in Formula 1?
I've forgotten who he was, to be honest.
He was the one who crashed on purpose.
In Singapore, wasn't it?
Yeah. So do we actually believe a word that comes out of that man's mouth?
Not really. I don't even know what he does now anyway. But there's other people like Jarno Trulli have come back and commented on Alonso's situation. They've all kind of said that he's probably going to be best to retire and he's never going to win a race again. But there are people who haven't really made it as
Nonsense.
Formula One drivers, so just leave it out.
How can they? How can somebody say he's never going to win a race again? What a load of tosh! What an absolute
If he's
load
got
of
a
rubbish.
3-year deal, then he's gonna. Of course, he's gonna probably win a race eventually. Maybe
Of
not
course he
this
is.
year. It's not looking great this year for McLaren Honda, but next couple of years or so, they'll be fighting for podiums definitely.
Yeah, I mean it's nonsense. Shall we go on to our next bit of news then, Benjamin? And going from Alonso to the team McLaren, and they've got a sexy new livery coming out. It looks hot, 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 hot.
Yeah, it's well, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say what I think it is. I think it's black and red, but I'm colourblind.
Colourblind,
So,
colourblind, buddy.
it could be yellow and green for all I know. But apparently, because they had the silver chrome before, it was causing reflection problems with like the floodlights and the sunlight on the car. So they've changed it to a grey. Apparently, is the colour it is, and red. But when I've seen pictures, it looked orange, like a horrible murky orange. And then when I watched practice today, it looked red. But again, I'm colourblind, so you tell me.
Yeah, you're colourblind. It's a
I'll
nice.
punch
It's
my
actually,
radio.
yeah. There's no need for that. It's
So
a nice.
angry.
It's an improvement, I think, on the previous one they had earlier in the year. I mean, it was still. I thought it was an all right looking car, but I think it's a big improvement, and it is. It's not the red. It's not orange. It is a red colour, and it is a sort of a blacky grey. It's not like a bland grey. I think it looks nice. I think it looks
They've
nice.
still got those like sparkles in it. I don't know if you noticed in
Yeah.
the previous one.
The pearlescent sort of paint. Yeah.
They've still got that on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and but the biggest thing really for me is it going to make them go faster?
It depends how heavy the paint is.
Well, yeah, but I think it's all very nice coming out with a new livery, but I think really they should be going faster. And it's all right having a good-looking car, but you know, if you finish last, you finish last, no matter how good your car is, and it doesn't get you any points or any money. So, I mean, it's a good-looking car, but let's see where they finish come Sunday, shall we?
Let's.
Let's do that indeed. So, next piece of news: Red Bull back in the news once again, and their future.
Yeah, never far from the spotlight. Today, what was interesting in FP1 was Mr. Gerhard Berger, Formula F1 driver, was hanging around with Red Bull and Christian Horner on the pit wall, and he was interviewed after the race, and he was suggesting that Red Bull's best hope to challenge Mercedes would be to be bought out by Audi and the VW group. Obviously, Ferdinand Piech was just resigned after a squabble with the CEO of the VW group. So they're looking now at probably joining Formula One. Stefano Domenicali, I forgot to mention on the last podcast, he was actually hired by the VW group to do like a feasibility study for them and whether it was worth joining Formula One. And I don't know actually what happened of it, but apparently it came out today that he actually suggested to Audi and the VW group that it could be worth buying out Red Bull and doing the same as what Mercedes have done and now what McLaren Honda are doing. But whether it would come to fruition, I don't really know.
I don't see how they benefit, really, and I don't see how the sport benefits from it. I saw Gerhard Berger sniffing around today. I was just
What,
literally
work?
been watching. Yeah, he was cruising around.
Yeah.
He loves what I do. He's a big fan, and he was cruising around the pit lane today in free practice when I've just come home and watched it. And I don't really see the benefit. I'd rather see Audi coming on their own rather than buy out Red Bull, because Red Bull's grown into the sport now as quite a big name. So I'd like to see them stick around, really. And I can't see how Dietrich Mateschitz or anyone there would want to see an Audi buyout. What do you think?
I think it could be good for Audi and the VW group because they'll be buying a decent team and decent people and decent drivers. But I don't think that Red Bull are going to like it. I don't think Christian Horner is going to like it because they're crying now because they can't win. So if someone's going to buy them over like McLaren Honda have just done with what was just McLaren, it's going to take a few years for them to get back again. So I don't really know, to be honest.
No, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on, but I would rather see Audi come in on their own and have more teams on the grid for a start, and have a big team like Audi and or VW come in.
Renault might say, well, if you're going to be flirting with Audi on the side, we're just going to dump you anyway. So you're either going to have
that's a
Audi
good point.
or leave him, or just go with Toro Rosso, or go completely.
Or start their own team and come
Yeah.
back again. You know, who knows? But that's a good point there. That's a very good point. I think Red Bull actually would be better with a Renault buyout than an Audi buyout, in my opinion, because they've already got a working relationship. Yes, it's fractious, but at least that it keeps everyone together and they can work and build on what they've got. So, moving on to the next piece of news, from the sort of midfield to the front of the grid again, Mercedes announced support for Esteban Ocon.
Yeah, smaller bits of news coming now, but as you see, Mercedes announced their support for Esteban Ocon. As you know, we're terrible with pronunciation, so
That
apologies.
could be anything. It could be Ocon. It could
Ocon. I'm not even going to try
Ocon.
because I just embarrassed myself.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, he's an 18-year-old Frenchman. He's currently competing in GP3, and he's also a reserve driver for Mercedes DTM team as well.
Good caliber.
Yeah, so he'll have that, and I think he's also been touted as getting a better role and a permanent role in the DTM team as well, I think. But last year, which is interesting, he was the European Formula 3 champion,
Yep.
in which he actually beat Max Verstappen. And we know Max Verstappen is pretty good, so this guy can't be that bad either. He won the championship by over 50 points and had 9 race wins. So no wonder Mercedes picked him up if he beat Verstappen in that fashion. But I don't know what Verstappen had as his equipment.
Yeah, and you can only really tell when they're both in the same formula. It'd be interesting to see him come in for sure. And if he's if the statistics are anything to go by and he is better than Max Verstappen, then that'll be awesome. Another young driver, younger than you, Ben. Another one.
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
than
Right.
you there. And the final piece of news, a random piece of news really, and something that is bizarre. I can't really see how this is going to happen, but F1 in Iran.
It just goes from bad to worse, doesn't it? We
It's,
keep saying
ugh.
stay away from places that don't deserve it yet,
and dangerous places.
Yeah,
places
this
that
is
are
the
dangerous.
vice president who said that they want to build a circuit. Just no, stay away, leave it. Do they even show it on TV in that country? Probably.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's one thing trying to spread the sport, and the Middle East obviously has a lot of money. But my word, Iran? Come on, that's not a country that deserves a Formula One Grand Prix. What's their audience numbers? And they've got a horrific human rights record.
It's
Why would you take a sport there? That's awful.
it goes back to money. It's awful. Stupid idea. Obviously there's no plans yet on the circuit, so I can't comment on what that's going to be either. But Herman Tilke isn't as good as what he used to be, so I can't imagine it'd be fascinating either. So
It'll probably go around nuclear. It'll be a figure of 8 around some nuclear bunkers,
yeah, around some
More
oil
like-
fields.
oil fields.
So it'll be like race stars. You'll have to have that combination of
Yeah, I like
racing slash an oil slick that you'll have to contend with, fire, explosions. Maybe
Oh,
that's
yeah.
to attract the younger audience. That's what they've said that younger people like. Apparently, people like me, we love explosions.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm probably afraid of explosions if I saw one, to be honest. So
Okay, it's bizarre. I don't understand why you take the sport there. I know they want to grow the sport, but I mean, I got given a book for my birthday that was going to get thrown out or get taken to a charity shop, and it was the Formula One 1997 season review. And there's some awesome tracks in the 97, like Argentina, Portugal, some great racing circuits. Germany, 2 great tracks in Germany. Why are we trying to expand the sport into areas that, one, don't have the audience, and 2, like I said before, just dangerous? Let's why don't we take the race to Iraq or Afghanistan or North Korea? Let's take it
Syria.
to more Syria. Let's take it to war zones. Ridiculous, utterly ridiculous, and countries with horrific human rights records as well. Just awful. Anyway, let's move on to something a bit more positive. Just before we jump into our Spanish preview, got some news for you fellas and ladies listening all around the world.
I don't even know what this is. So it's news to me.
Well, like if it's your birthday, like it was for me on Thursday, and you have another half who loves you very much, but you haven't got tickets to your favourite Formula One Grand Prix, head on over to fivelightspodcast.com and get your tickets from there. You can get tickets for every race this season. Just go to the calendar area of our website, this one at the top of the bar that says 2015 calendar. Look at the race calendar, click on the race that you want to go to, and then you can instantly buy tickets for your favourite race this season, thanks to bookf1.com. But they don't just do F1 tickets. Oh no, they do experience days as well. So if you fancy driving a tank, or a single-seater racer, or an Aston Martin, or jumping out of an airplane, whatever, if you fancy some experience days, head on over to our website. There's an experience page as well, experience days page. Click on the experience days banner, and you can buy gifts, or just buy one for yourself. Maybe you're thinking, I want to buy a tank. I'm not going to get it for a gift for someone else. I want to drive a tank. Damn it! So go over to Experience Days on our webpage, and thanks to bookf1.com and bookexperiencedays.com, you can buy tickets to those events.
Can you fire the turret?
I don't know. I wouldn't imagine so. But then
You got me thinking now.
Maybe. What, for Jenny?
No, I wouldn't dare anywhere near a tank. It's bad enough in a little car.
So Ben, after that, I'm just going to read something out of another book I found. I had got given a Murray Walker quotes book. Again, it was going to get given to a charity shop, but I saved it. And some of the quotes in here are diamonds. So I've decided that every podcast I am going to read one out. I'm going to read two out this time, because I'm going to read a quote out at the end of every podcast just to finish it off on a light note, just in case we have another depressing podcast. But I'm going to read one now to lead us into the Spanish preview. Then I'm going to get my other book out to help with the Spanish preview, and then we'll read one at the end. So,
a little story time.
Yeah, a little story. It's just a short quote, this one. And Murray Walker said, "Into lap 53, the penultimate last lap but one."
To be fair, that would be something I would say if I was commentating, but I'd probably still get it wrong.
The guy's a legend. Anyway, so into the Spanish preview. The next Grand Prix up the road coming this weekend. It started today, so we've already had 2 practice sessions, but I'll just read you the facts that Ben just sent me for those guys on Meerkat. There we go. It's going to come through backwards because you're looking through the phone a different way. But there you go. That's what Ben sends me every week. So, Friday the 8th of May to Sunday the 10th of May. The Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, with a length of 4.655 kilometres. That's 2.892 miles clockwise. Very important. 66 laps, which means 308.238 kilometres or 190.825 miles. Tyre compounds are hard, which is the orange, and medium, which is the white.
Sorry, Dan. It's actually anti-clockwise. I didn't change that. It's my bad. I was just thinking about it. It's anti-clockwise. Slap my hand for that. Sorry.
Can't work in these conditions. It's outrageous. Anti-clockwise.
It's been a hard week.
It's fine, bench. It's fine. It's hard week. 16 turns. 2 DRS zones on the pit straight and between turns 9 and 10. Qualifying is at 1 PM GMT, and the race is also at 1 PM GMT, so a normal race time, so that's great. The weather is warm and sunny with light winds. The driver's steward is blank. We've not been told who the driver's steward is yet.
As far as I know, it is blank. Blank is the driver's steward.
Blank.
So you probably won't see any penalties this weekend.
Yeah, it's blank. It's just empty.
Blankety blank.
Likelihood of a safety car, 33%. So, it's not very high, but we could possibly see one. 18 out of 24 races won from pole. Only 2 drivers have ever won from behind the front row. So, difficult to overtake here. Some tight corners, so it's a little bit more difficult to overtake here, but we'll see what happens. Medium to high-speed corners with abrasive tarmac and high temperatures cause high tyre wear and degradation. Overtaking, as I've said, is very difficult, and it's a two-stop race strategy. So, a little bit of news there. Julian Palmer will drive in FP1, so he drove today already. Susie Wolff also drove in FP1 instead of Bottas. And Marciello also drove in FP1 instead of Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber. So, Ben, Spanish Grand Prix. What gems and delights have you got for us about the Spanish Grand Prix?
Well, if you follow F1 like us, you've already probably heard and read that... I don't know what happened with my voice there. That went horrible. It's the start of the European season, although in 2 races' time we're going to be in Canada. So with the Flat Out Fever guys. So big shout out to them.
Big shout out to those.
So this is the point where, because it's so close to their HQs, that they can start bringing developments to the track, and they bring their motorhomes as well. They're huge, massive motorhomes, like something from space. So we've seen a lot of them today. And the teams have kept going, we're bringing this, it's going to give us that, we're going to leapfrog this team, leapfrog that team. but everyone kind of brings updates that are probably going to give them the same amount of performance, so they kind of end up staying where they were anyway. And as we've seen from the first two practice sessions today, Mercedes and FP1 were a second quicker than Ferraris. It was 4/10 in FP2 though, so everything's really the same as it was. And obviously McLaren changed their livery. It's just tiny little bits and bobs. And apparently, the Ferrari, they've got 16 new things on their car.
Wow.
Which Arriva Bene said was worth 70% new bodywork, which I don't think is completely true. But
No, so 16 parts of the Ferrari means 70%
of
new
the
bodywork.
of the bodywork apparently. But
Wow.
that's kind of just, it's not far off that, to be fair. But
Yeah.
it's kind of an example of what teams will be bringing.
Mm.
So while Ferrari are trying to find everything in their workshop and in Italy to put on their car to make it go faster, including like pasta and things like that, and ladles and stuff. Mercedes are taking the opposite approach and taking quality over quantity and adding small little tiny things that you can barely even see. So
Yeah.
it's interesting those two, how they're battling together.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race. I think the only thing that is a bit of an alarm bell ringer is the fact that it's difficult to overtake, and that was proven. I consult my book now that I got for my birthday. Here we go. 2012, when Pastor Maldonado won in the Williams, it just proves that it's difficult to overtake if no one could get ahead of him and win the race. But that's Pastor's only win to date. But I'm a big fan of this circuit. I love driving it on the F1 game. I think it's great on there. But it is a good circuit. It's a fast circuit, but it is difficult to overtake. So do you think whoever gets pole or second place, they're going to be the favourites to win this, really?
Well, I think considering there'll probably be a Ferrari or a Mercedes anyway, I think you could say, yeah, I'd say most likely. It's also, as I put in the notes for the preview of the race, it's going to be a warm weekend, but a slight wind, and we've seen that already today, and that's catching people out. And ironically, that's what apparently caught Alonso and a few of the drivers out during testing. Obviously Alonso had his crash in testing.
Yeah.
Obviously hasn't had it happen to him today, but drivers were struggling today in corners, getting blown off the track, left, right and centre. I think something that, I don't know if you saw it down in FP1, so I was like turns 12 and 13 towards the end of the circuit.
Yeah.
Alonso spun.
Yes.
Did a 180, but he caught it so well. It's like he did it on purpose. He spun, reversed it round, and just kept on going. It's completely. It's like it's meant to happen. I believed him for a minute. I thought, hang on, he's lost a bit of time there.
He knows what he's doing. The other thing that stood out to me in FP1 is Rosberg diving in the pits a bit late. There's a little bollard at the entrance to the pits, and you have to stay to the right of that. He entered on the left-hand side, though. Now, I've not seen anything after FP1 yet. Is he facing repercussions for that, or is he just going to get away with a slap on the wrist, do you think?
I haven't heard anything either, like you. I think if something was to happen to him, then it would have happened already. So I think it'll probably just be like a repercussion or a slap on the wrist, something like that. Did I say repercussion?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I meant a reprimand is what I meant.
Ah, right. That's okay.
So as I said, it's been a long week.
It still worked.
But another thing that was interesting was Ricciardo.
Yeah.
He's done about 4 or 5 laps in total from both practice sessions because, again, of power unit problems.
Yeah.
He's got it again, and he's only got... If he changes again, then he's going to have to take a penalty unless the new additional penalty-free power unit comes into play before that happens, and they're not sure whether his power unit is going to last this weekend, let alone into Monaco.
Yeah. Well, the power units has been a big problem all season for them, hasn't it? So they're gonna take penalties, aren't they, for the season, and that's just a fact. But should we go through some predictions then? Should we see who's going to win what and who's going to finish where? I'm just going to read a little bit out of my book here, because I said I was going to use it. It says in this book here, it's a great book, that the Elf, which is the first corner, is the best place for overtaking. Now with the DRS zones as well there, that's probably about right. And it is quite an easy corner to overtake on, as we've seen in the past there. So do you think that if you qualify second, you've probably, because you've got the inside line, if you've got the inside line there on the if you're in second place,
I think they choose.
I'm not sure,
but if you've
got, regardless, if you've got the inside line there in the start, you are in with a good chance of leading the race going ahead. So let's do some predictions using the Badger GP app. So that's badgergp.com, or you can download the app on your tablet or on your phone. Great website. They do articles about F1 as well, not just the fantasy. For example, this week one of their writers has been talking about classic Spanish Grand Prix going back to 1997, an underrated classic it was called. A very good read indeed. We're now using it for our fantasy Grand Prix, and if you want to join in our league, if you want to go to the Badger GP and join in, you can do. Head over to fivelightspodcast.com. And on the left-hand side there is the code for our league. If you click on the Badger GP, it'll take you to the website. Just enter the code. It's not too late to join. Yes, there's been a few races, 4 races, and people have racked up points, but it's never too late to join. And we are on a quest to beat the Five Lights Fever. No, not the Five Lights Fever. That's an amalgamation. That's an amalgamation of both podcasts. The Flat Out Fever podcast. We need to beat them. So
I have an interesting point on that. And
you have an interesting point.
I'm going to kind of jump the gun a bit. With Badger, I've made 2 changes to my team, and
okay.
I'll say them later when we get to it proper. But I made the 2 changes, and as far as I know, and you have to clarify this for me, I was second in the standings. Yes,
you were second in the standings, correct, and I was third.
Behind Flat Out Fever Dan, who was number 1.
Yep.
I made 2 changes, and then I've jumped to number 1 and overtaken him.
You are?
So whether the 2 changes has counted more points, or Flat Out Fever Dan has taken a points hit, I don't know.
Wow.
I can't remember what points we were on before.
Let me have a look at the league here. So Ben, you think you're top of our league?
Apparently it says now I'm top of the league.
It does say you're top of the league.
I've only made 2 changes.
And I've gone down to 4th.
Yeah, we've got someone else who's joined in, I think.
Yeah, but I was ahead of him last week. What is going on? What is going on? Okay.
I'm not so worried because I'm number 1, but for you, yeah, that must suck.
Yeah, 4th now. What the French fries? Right. Anyway, let's make our predictions, which will hopefully cheer me up. So Ben, I'm going to let you go first.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix? Bearing in mind it was a Mercedes 1-2 last year, Hamilton winning from Rosberg. Who do you think is going to win this year's Grand Prix? And explain why as well. Don't just say, it's going to be such and such. Give us a reason.
Lewis Hamilton, because I still think he is on top. He's come out and said that he's on top. Paddy Lowe's come out and said he's on top. He's in form. Ferraris aren't yet ready to challenge them just yet. They still need to find a bit more time. Apparently, for some reason, Nico Rosberg has been a right mighty bum this weekend and is down in the dumps. So, that he's not going to be able to challenge an in-form Hamilton. So that's why, for me, Hamilton's going to be race winner come Sunday.
Yeah, that's a good prediction. I think I saw a little bit of the pre-show where they were talking to Martin Brundle and Rosberg was there, and he was saying you should look more pumped up, and he was still a little bit deflated about it. I still think he's a little bit mentally behind Hamilton, so I am also going to go with Lewis Hamilton winning the race. So who have you got for second?
I'm going to tell you now what I've got different on Badger GB because I did it last night quickly before I forgot.
Okay.
But having watched practice today, I'm going to go with Vettel second again because Rosberg being a mighty bum.
Because of Rosberg being a mighty bum.
Yeah.
That is it's a good point. So you're going for Vettel
didn't get
second.
Anywhere being a mighty bum.
This is true. So you're going to go for Vettel second. I am still going to stick with Rosberg second. I still think Rosberg's going to come second.
That's what I had before.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be another Mercedes 1-2. And third place, I'm going to go for Vettel. So who have you got in third place? Actually, no. Scrap that. I'm going to go Raikkonen third place because Raikkonen has done well here in the past.
But
where is he on the list?
Well, no, I'm not going to say it because that's going to help you.
No, I'm not going to change it. It's locked in. Go on.
You were saying that this is a circuit that doesn't aid overtaking,
Yes,
and
true.
that Saturday counts
Yeah.
for your race. And we know that Raikkonen has done poorly on Saturday so far this season compared to Vettel. So you think
Yep.
potentially Raikkonen's going to outqualify Vettel tomorrow?
I don't think he needs to. I think they're going to be next to each other.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Mercedes 1-2, Ferrari 3-4, and I don't think it matters so much because the first, yes, you can't overtake in Spain over the long distance, but on the first lap is completely different because you only need to get held up by one car. Excuse me. You only need to get held up by one car, or have a poor start or something to go wrong. So there's ability to overtake. So I don't think necessarily that Raikkonen needs to outqualify Vettel.
True. I mean, the first lap is always good, and he's got the pit stops to help him as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the last race, he had a phenomenal start. He's had a few good starts this season, so I think he's going to finish third. He likes this track, and he's coming off a good result last time. So I'm with Raikkonen here. So I'm going to stick Raikkonen third.
I'm going to go with Rosberg third. I think
Okay.
he'll be a mindy bum, and then he'll realise, well, I might as well try and do something, at least finish on the podium. So he's going to finish third.
I might as well try and do something.
Yes.
Right, okay. So pole position then, Ben. So I take it as you've got Hamilton winning. Like me, you've got Hamilton on pole.
Bingo! You got it.
Bingo. Is this one of the races that Bridgestone,
Wow.
who
Let's get it
Pirelli
back.
said it has been a horrific week. I'm not feeling 100% either. I've got a cold coming, so it's killing me right now.
Winter is coming.
And I'm an awful person when I'm ill, as Donna will attest to. I am awful. Pirelli, is this one of the tracks where they said that potentially we could see a new track record?
Yeah, maybe.
I seem to think it is. I seem to remember.
Do you want me to check quickly? Because I think I put it in my notes.
Yeah, have a quick check. But I think,
Apologies if you hear me typing away and clicking away, but I'm just going to check that quickly. So I'll leave you to it, and I'm going to have a quick look.
yeah, well, you check that out because I think this is one of the tracks where they said that they could potentially see a new lap record, and I think Lewis Hamilton is the man to get that. He does look good. Going back to Rosberg as well, finishing second, and it could back up your thing for finishing third. He's had I only saw FP1, but he did have a very scrappy and rough session in FP1. As I say, nearly missing the pits, which is probably down to a late call, but he had a few times where he ran wide, and there was a few drivers making mistakes today in FP1. Massa had a huge lockup coming into the pits, and Kimi Raikkonen came into the pits, and his pit crew weren't there. He just plain came in, and there was no one there waiting for him. So there's a few funny incidents in FP1 today. But yeah, going back to the pole position, Lewis Hamilton I think is going to take pole. I'll give you my fastest lap as well, which I think is also going to be Lewis Hamilton. Do we know yet, Benj, whether Spain is one of the tracks?
Sorry, Dan, you were wrong. It was Spa, Singapore,
Spa.
USA,
Spa.
and Brazil.
It was a Spa. Just
But we could do because it's got the long straight, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
more time to gain speed. I think Hamilton, although it was early on in FP1, he was some 6 kilometers an hour faster than everyone else in the speed traps. So, I think it was 360 odd kilometers an hour he was clocked at.
But the wind is going to be a huge factor there. I mean, if you've got a tailwind, it's not too bad. It's obviously going to pick you up along the straights and take you along. But if you're going into a headwind or even a crosswind, it's going to cause an absolute nightmare for you. So we've got to keep an eye on that windage. Who have you got the fastest lap then, Bench?
Hamilton, but that might be subject to change. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. I've moaned at you before for that, so I'm going to keep Lewis.
Okay.
Purely
Safety
because
cars?
I think that you're not going to be able to, because you can't overtake. You might be able to
Yeah.
catch someone.
Yeah.
But so that means Hamilton's going to have to clear out in front and be able to do quicker laps.
Safety cars?
Uno.
I've gone for 0. I don't think there'll be one. So I've punted for none, safety car wise. So, any particular reason why you think one, or is it just a wild stab in the dark?
1 in 3 chance. Maldonado's there.
Very true.
Wind.
Wind.
Gust of wind's only got to take someone out.
It's quite a narrow
For me or
circuit in
something.
places as well, isn't it?
Sorry?
there's some areas where it's quite narrow. There's not a lot of runoff in
No.
some places. There are some
Which
obviously
is
areas
good.
where there's huge runoff. Yeah, which is good. And we've seen a few crashes there before in GP2 as well. I remember a couple of years ago coming through the final section of chicanes there, a GP2 driver just plain drove into someone because he got a bit annoyed. So hopefully we didn't see that this weekend. But yeah, there's chance of incident. So bold predictions then, Ben? I mean, obviously I made mine a few weeks ago now that I said that McLaren will score points here. I said they will. I mean, they nearly got there last time with Alonso finishing 11th. So with a new livery, maybe they'll do it this time.
So yours was McLaren score points.
Yeah, our older brother Mark, he thinks that McLaren will score points before Maldonado does. So that's his bold prediction. So that's another one to watch out for. Ben, have you got any bold predictions? I may have one more to throw into the ring there.
Yeah. Do you want to go for it now, or do you want me to go first?
Oh, you go first. You go first.
Mine is. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. I'm off to edge of my seat. I'm always ready.
Pastor Maldonado finishes
The race.
in the points.
Wow. Oh, okay.
It's got to be bold.
Yeah, it's not wildly bold, but it is, I suppose, because he's not finishing the points this season, though, has he?
Nope. He's only finished one of 4, I think. 1 of 4 races.
So me actually saying Maldonado finishes the race is probably a bold prediction. So you think Maldonado will score points? Where do you think he'll finish?
10th.
10th.
I was going to put Maldonado scores points, but that could be penalty points. So I'm going to put finishes 10th. Oh no, finishes in the points.
Here was my
again
bold
if you can hear me typing.
That's fine. It's fine. You do what you need to. My bold prediction is: are you ready?
I am.
All Renault-engined cars will finish the race.
All Renault engine cars will finish the race. That's a good one. That's bold.
Yeah. All Renault-engined cars will finish. All Renault-engined cars will finish the race. So there's like Toro Rosso,
Yeah.
Red Bull.
That's it.
So it's the Toro Rosso and Red Bull.
Which is it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. So that's those 4 cars have got to finish the race, and I don't think there's been a race this season where all 4 of them have finished. So yeah, and that includes crashing out as well. That includes crashing out. So if they crash out,
That's it.
So all Renault engine cars to finish the race. So that's the Toro Rossos and the Red Bulls. Whether they'll score points, I don't know. I think the Toro Rossos are more likely to score points than the Red Bulls. How many do you think will finish this weekend? Do you think we'll have a higher number of finishing this weekend, Benj, or do you think we'll still see around the 16 mark? Excuse me while I cough. Dying.
I think there'll be quite a few finishes. I don't think there'll be many retirees. So I'm going to go with about 17.
17. I think we might lose 2, and I think that one might be to a crash due to the wind and one might be a breakdown. Do we think both Marussias will finish?
Yes.
Do you think that Marussia will have made steps in Spain, or do you think they'll still be
No.
quite a way off? Yeah, quite a way off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they did qualify comfortably inside the 107% rule, I worked out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, but not quickly. But you wouldn't expect them to after the comeback that they made.
Yeah, sure. Who do you think will have made the biggest leap from the last Grand Prix to now? Who do you think is going to really have stepped it up and maybe be pushing on, scoring more points or even scoring points?
Well, if Maldonado finished in the points, then I'd say Pastor Maldonado. But
Right, from an individual.
yes, in terms of team, I don't really know because Ferrari have made brought all their developments, like 16 or 70% of how many. So you wouldn't argue that they have, but if Renault cars can finish, then maybe they have made the biggest step forward. Lotus say they're going to overtake Renault, Red Bull even, and Red Bull say they're going to overtake Williams. Williams, I don't think will make any impact or step forward at all because they haven't brought anything through. So probably Ferrari, if I have to put money on it. Not that I would.
I would say Mercedes. I would say Mercedes probably would have made the biggest leap forward. I know they're at the front already, but it's, as I said before, it's difficult to lead from the front. You've got to keep up because it's all right winning now, but if you don't keep developing, you will fall behind. So I think they'll have made the biggest progress just to stay ahead of Ferrari. because they've said that they've not bought many upgrades here. They just take, like Lewis Hamilton said, they want quality over quantity. And Ferrari, as you said, have changed 70% of the bodywork. So I think Mercedes will have made the biggest leap forward if they can stay comfortably ahead of the Ferraris. If the Ferraris are catching them up, then Ferrari have made the biggest leap forward. I'm a bit annoyed, well, not a bit annoyed, but I'm a bit sort of worried more than anything that Williams haven't made that step forward, because I really think they should be leaping forward now and trying to push on to the Ferraris, because if they don't and they're not careful, they will start to get caught by the Red Bulls behind them, and maybe even later in the year when Force India get their package together, maybe they can come to the party as well.
Well, a lot of teams are going to be bringing stuff at Monaco, Montreal, and in Austria, and there's a pre-season, a mid-season test. I think after Spain, and I think after Austria. I think Force India are bringing the new car in the mid-season test in Austria, so not the Austrian Grand Prix, the week after that. So the new car will be ready for Silverstone. So we'll get to see it.
We will get to see it. We will get to see the new car. I think it's pointless, by the way, that teams bring updates for Monaco. You'll find out nearer the time when we get to the Monaco Grand Prix. I think it's the most pointless Grand Prix on the circuit. I think it's stupid. It's another Grand Prix that, yes, it's got a lot of history, but we'll get into that later. Otherwise, I'll be here all night talking about the Monaco Grand Prix, and it's one of my bugbears. Anyway, that is our preview of the Spanish Grand Prix. Ben, have you got anything else to say about Spain?
Just want to announce my changes in the Badger Grand Prix fantasy in my team.
Oh, in your team. Okay.
So you get 8 changes throughout the season. I've made 2 this week. So I'll say what it was before, and then I'll say what it is now. So I had, as cars, I had Mercedes, Ferrari, Toro Rosso, and drivers I had Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Nasr, and Max Verstappen. So what it is now is cars are still Mercedes and Ferrari, but I have replaced Toro Rosso with Sauber.
Right.
I'll explain why in a second briefly.
Sauber.
And my drivers are now Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Nasr, and Romain Grosjean.
Okay.
Now, I've added those 2 in place of Toro Rosso and Verstappen is because Renault are having problems. I think Lotus will improve. And Sauber, I've got the Ferrari power unit.
Yeah.
So they're going to... I think Lotus and Sauber together will fare better than the Toro Rossos will. So that's not to say that I don't think Verstappen's a good driver anymore. I think he's got the bad fortune of having a Renault engine. But as I've done that this weekend in FP2, I haven't watched it, but I've seen the clip. Romain Grosjean was going down the pit straight, and his bodywork exploded.
Brilliant.
Massively. I mean, you should watch it. It literally his car was my hope, and it just blew into pieces. So
like Jaime Alguersuari did when he put the brakes on that time.
Yeah, I definitely recommend watching it, because he said, "Oh, something's gone off, something's come off the car, something small's come off the car on a straight," and Roman, half your car's gone.
Jeez, I have to watch that. I should have to find that.
Definitely have to watch it. It's his bodywork just goes everywhere.
Wow. So that's it then for our roundup of the Spanish Grand Prix. I've not made any changes to my team. We'll see how it goes for one more week, and then maybe I'll stump to make some changes. As you know, I'm now heading to Silverstone with Ben, so we will be there. So in the run-up to Silverstone, we will be making some plans, and we'll be laying them out to you. We also hope to get the head of the stewards, the F1 stewards from Silverstone, on our show in the next few weeks. He's going to be coming on and talking to us about what it is to be a steward, how to become a steward, and why British stewards are the best race stewards. Marshals even. Not stewards, marshals. That's the right word, isn't it? Why am I calling them stewards? Marshals. The best marshals in the world. So, we'll be talking to him, the head of the British Grand Prix Marshals. He'll be coming on to our show in the next few weeks. Remember, head over to 5lightspodcast.com, read our articles. Ben is posting his biting points every Monday now, unless something comes up, so he'll be there every Monday posting his biting points. He wrote a fantastic one this week. Good job there, Ben.
Thank you very much.
Good job on the article. I'm going to try and do a takeaway over the weekend, a few over the weekend, and I'll try and get one in every week, at least one post in every week. So that's going to be continuously updated. Head over to the calendar. There's also on every page you go on now, there's a little calendar on the right hand side with all the timings on. So if you scroll down the page on the right hand side, there is a calendar with all the timings on for all the sessions this year. And if you head over to the F1 2015 calendar tab at the top of the page, that is where you can buy your tickets for any race you want to go to in this 2015 season. You can also get your experience days. They also do MotoGP, so if 2 wheels is more your thing rather than 4, they do MotoGP tickets. Head over to book1f1.com via our website, the5lightspodcast.com. Also on there are links to 2 other podcasts that we are very much in with. We have the Flat Out Fever podcast, our friends over in Toronto, Canada. If you missed the show where we guested on their podcast, that's available on our website and also to download from Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, wherever else you can get podcasts. We are pretty much everywhere. Subscribe to their podcast as well as subscribing to ours. And also the On The Limit podcast, the guys from the West Country, from down there, they've got a great podcast as well. 3 guys there, so head over there via our website. We fixed the link to their website, so head over to our website. All the links for our stuff are down the left hand side of the page. Ben, anything else to say?
Enjoy. Many of you have probably forgotten what a Formula 1 car looks like after a 3-week break. So
It's been a sad time.
It has, but it's
Very
back.
sad time.
And it might not be a great race, or we probably haven't promoted it as such a great race, but nonetheless, watch it. It's decent times now as well with 1 p.m. So enjoy your weekend.
Yes, enjoy your weekend. I think it's going to be a great race. Now, I may have some commitments, so may not be able to watch the race live. We're not sure yet. But the podcast, if I can't watch the race live, the podcast will be back on Monday, Ben. Is that good for you?
Whatever works for you, buddy.
Monday sounds good. If I can watch it live, we will do it on Sunday. So this will be back. This podcast will be going up live on Saturday morning. So for all you guys watching on Meerkat, hello, I can still see there's some people watching there. This podcast is available from iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, as I said before. Head over to the 5lightspodcast.com and download it from there. But this one will be available on Saturday morning, so you can listen to it before the race begins on Sunday. Looking forward to qualifying tomorrow. Let's see what goes on. Looking forward to the race on Sunday. Keep up to date with us on Twitter at 5lightspod, on Instagram at 5lightspod, on our Facebook page, and anywhere else we are. The website is the main hub. Ben, any last words?
Enjoy.
Okay.
That's all I got. Sorry, that was terrible.
We're gonna, a bit more gusto. Something with a bit more gusto. Right, I'm gonna finish on another Murray Walker classic. And then we are out of here. So Murray Walker said, "And the rains came and washed the circuit dry." There you go, like a biblical reading at the end there. Very good, very profound finish. So that's it. That's the end of the episode 13 of the 5 Lights podcast. Thank you for watching on Meerkat. Thank you for listening wherever you are. The 5 Lights have gone out. See you later, guys.
Thank you, everyone.